RAS Fearless. Time to target. 20 minutes.
Commander Gett leaned over the ops room trooper, the one he called Piwo. It had taken Etain a while to realize that he called all the men who took watches at the console Piwo. It was simply an acronym for Principal Weapons Officer. The man's name was actually Tin. Tin's face was blank with total concentration, thrown into sharp relief by the yellow light from the screens in front of him.
"There it is,"
he said. The Separatist ship, appearing on the tracking screen as a visibly shifting red pulse, was now within their scanning range. Omega wasn't, although Tin had programmed in a blue marker that corresponded with their last position and projected drift.
How many minutes are we still behind them?
Etain asked. If Tin didn't like having a commander and a general breathing down his neck, he showed no sign of it. Etain admired his ability to ignore distractions, even without a little force help from her. He didn't seem to need it.
5, maybe 4 if the velocities hold constant.
Now what's that? Gett said. A smaller target had appeared on the screen, first red, then blue, then flashing red, with a cursor saying unconfirmed.
SEP drive profile, but the scan is probably detecting a GAR encrypted transponder,
Tin said.
I think we can guess who's in the driver's seat there.
Wasn't Delta carrying out a rummage of prosecutor?
Gett asked.
I gather they had expected visitors.
Doesn't Delta file full contact reports?
Etain interrupted.
No more detail than they have to, I understand,
Gett said.
Silent ops. I think they get out of the habit of talking to the regular forces side of things. Perhaps General Jussic might have a word with them.
Delta, like Omega, was part of Jussic's battalion, 05 Commando, which was one of 10 in the Special Operations Brigade commanded by Etain's former master, Arligan Zay. A year before, there had been 2 brigades. Casualties had slashed their strength in half. And like all the commando squads, Delta was utterly self-reliant and operated largely without command, merely receiving intelligence support and a broad objective. It was the kind of command that was ideal for a very smart but inexperienced general. And there was no other way for one Jedi to run 500 Special Forces men. Clones led clones as they did in the regular GAR. So Delta did more or less as they pleased within the overall battle plan. Fortunately, it seemed to please them to be blisteringly efficient, a quality Etain noted and respected in every clone soldier she met.
Get me a link to them, Commander, she said. I need to talk to them, as do you. I have no idea how they're going to play this.
Gett just raised an eyebrow and turned to the signals officer to request a secure link via fleet. It took 30 seconds. They were 18 minutes to target, and time was running out. Tin moved his seat a little so Gett could place the hololink transmitter on the console where they could both see the link and the tracking screen.
Delta, this is General Termukin, Fearless.
The image that shimmered before her showed one man in a familiar suit of Kataran armor, squatting with a DC-17 across his thighs. The blue light distorted natural color, but the dark patches on his armor suggested red or orange identity markings.
RC-1138, General. Receiving.
It was time for names.
Your boss?
Yes, General. Boss. Our ETA is 14 to 15 minutes.
You don't have any armament, do you?
No. And we're aware that there's another SEP ship right up our shibs that does.
Boss appeared to check himself.
Apologies for the language, General. But you're the ones carrying the cannon.
Boss, how do you plan to execute this?
Get there first, get them out fast, and bug out even faster. It usually works pretty well.
She bristled, but she knew that wasn't fair to him.
Could you be more specific?
Okay. We get alongside, access the cockpit, seal against vacuum, and extract personnel.
access means a big bang, yes?
No. Scorch would usually love that, but this is a cutting job if you want those prisoners alive, because that'll mean an instant decompression. If you don't want them alive, then that's easier. Omega has enough air, so their suits are still good for another 20 minutes in vacuum. In that case, we'll just blow the cockpit view screen and hold them out.
Boss had his helmet cocked slightly to one side, as if he was asking her to make a command decision. He was. It was the mission objective versus Omega's safety. And that's what command is all about. Etain suspected this was where she finally stopped playing at being a general. Omega didn't have to survive, but a few terrorists who might hold the key to a wider terror network did. Accessing the cockpit carefully with cutting equipment would take more time. Time that might mean the SEP ship arrived before Omega was safe and clear. Her personal choice was immediate, but she wavered over the professional one. She was aware of Get glancing at her, and then looking down at something of overwhelming interest on the deck. Boss showed unusual diplomacy for a squad that had a name for being unsubtle. He wasn't blind. He could see her as well as she could see him, and he probably saw a child out of her depth.
General, I've spoken to Nina,
he said.
He's clear. They're all clear. This is as close as we've come to grabbing some key players for a long, long time, and it probably cost their pilot his life as well. We have to make prisoner retrieval the priority. We all know the game by now. It's a risk for us too. We might all get vaped.
I know you're correct, Etain said. But none of you is expendable as far as I'm concerned. And I know you'll do everything you can to get them out alive.
General, is that an order? And if so, what is it? Extract Omega and abandon the prisoners? Or what?
She felt her stomach fall. It was relatively easy to be the commander who held a trooper as he was dying. It was much, much harder to stand there and say, yes, rescue 3 terrorists and let my friends die. Let Darman die, if that's what it takes.
Had they asked Skirota? What did he say?
She thought to herself. Get touched her arm and indicated the tracking screen. He held up 3 fingers. 3 minutes behind the SEP vessel now. They were gaining on them.
Extract the prisoners,
Etain said. It was out of her mouth before she could think further.
And we'll be right behind you.